And let's bring in Megan Gailey. There she is. Yes, Megan Gailey. Lucas Oil Stadium, 2060 miles. Unbelievable. Megan, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm so excited right now just because the video and audio work. That is half the battle when you're booking concerts. But
It's
I know you're
truly
professional.
shocking. Truly shocking. I am going to Filipino night at Dodger Stadium, and we are not bringing our child. And I get bringing 3 kids to one parent. That ratio's off.
Right.
So that is not good. I once sat in free seats that my manager had that were like right behind, like first row behind home plate. And I sat next to a dad and like an 18-month-old, and I loved her so much, but she was so good. And she had been to a bunch of games, and like as a baby, she knew how to act.
Nice. Yeah. And I have no worries about your and CJ Toledano's child having sports acumen and have to do attend a game and that stuff, because you'll at least teach them what direction it is. You'll teach them the ins and outs when it gets down to it, but you also know they have to earn that seat. You can't just get in there, like climb all over the thing, right?
No, I don't like that. I'm honestly so shocked when I see children at things now, because I know what bedtime is, and I'm just like, you should be asleep. Like, also, like, you have to buy tickets once they're 2 years old and above.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You're spending $3,000 on them to like.
That's what I mean. These animals that were sitting like at $5,000 right there. It was insane.
So crazy to me. And like, yeah, the first Colts game I went to, I think I was probably 4. Colts Bills, wasted Bills fans in front of us, had the time of my life, but I was acting correct.
Yes, absolutely. And look at what it came to. And they raised a great Colt woman.
Thank you.
At that point. Hold on, let me see. I think I have your kid in there.
Oh yeah, he's got on.
He's got an Edgerrin James jersey on.
He has an Edgerrin James jersey. I do believe he now has my favorite player of all time, Dwight Freeney, just inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So Conrad has a Richardson jersey, a Edgerrin James jersey, and a Dwight Freeney jersey.
I love those. Yeah, Freeney looked good the other day. Looked like he can still play.
Oh yeah, and then all of his teammates. Bob Sanders is still jacked, ready to go.
The sheriff, Bob Sanders, absolutely. This is exciting to have you on here, Megan. You are a Colts enthusiast, Indianapolis enthusiast. You go so far back. Absolutely. You were on my other show. I never even heard that the Black Eyed. You told that Pat McAfee story. You have such Colt ties. The famous Pat McAfee story when he was drunk swimming in a river. You were there egging him on with the drinking that night. You were one of those little trollops.
We were. There was a group of him, 3 other Colts players, maybe 2 other Colts players, and then myself and 2 other friends. We were all together. Yeah.
Amazing. Fantastic. You altered sports media history, basically.
Just by being a drunk little slut.
Yeah.
No, I didn't hook up with any of them. I was deeply in love with my Chicago boyfriend at the time. And so I did not cheat on him. But
who happened to be Robbie Gould, the Bears kicker?
Yeah, I have Robbie Gould stories. I got stories.
I like your kicker stories. That's hilarious.
I know having kicker stories is kind of lame, but I recently was at a wedding, and there were a lot of NFL reporters there, and one of them after the wedding was like, "I have a present for you." Gave me a Frank Reich signed football that she said she didn't know what she was going to do. So she just brought it to the wedding to give to me.
That's amazing. Yeah, you probably are the go-to like sports thing for other women, who are your friends and all, like, oh, Megan will know what to do with it and just toss it over like a jersey.
Yeah, I was so thrilled. But I really do. I have, some Eagles friends, including you. There really does seem to be a Colts Eagles pipeline that we just sort of give players, coaches. We just kind of go back and forth and trade them.
Yeah, you took Frank Reich and then you took Sean Steichen, and we'll get into that. Let's get right into your Colts. Look at this. I'm on Canva now, Megan. So I do
Okay.
I do
Wow.
great graphics. And there you are in the upper corner with with little Edger and James there.
I've only ever seen women use Canva, and it is funny to be like, oh, men can use it, but just to make Colts graphics.
Yeah, to make Colts graphics. I got an old Colts logo there and odds to win that. Just a quick recap of your Colts there. They went 9-8 last year, and they lost in that 4th-and-1 play.
Yeah.
Insane play. They throw to Tyler Goodson instead of Jonathan Taylor.
I cried for him. He cried. He had to be consoled by reporters after. The most heartless people on earth.
Now they ran him out of town, right?
I don't think he is still on the team. No,
you can't possibly come back after that.
If I'm like scanning the depth chart right now, no, I don't believe he's there. But like when I see these tight ends,
right,
some of these like
they have monster tight ends, like physically, like there's like really large men at tight end. They have an interesting strategy, like, well, we can't get a Kelsey so that can catch it, but let's see if we can get to the biggest men possible to just like
we like a big blocker. We usually take a corn-fed white boy at tight end. Right now, we're spearheaded by Mo Alley Cox, who seems like a lovely man, not the best hands. I've heard him referred to as Mo Alley Drops.
Yes, I love a good drop nickname, but there's nothing better. There's nothing better than
I didn't coin that. I didn't coin that. I just heard other people say that.
Just push it forward. I love it. Just overall, general, what do you feel about your Colts before we get deep into it? I said they're over unders 8.5, so they expect them to win about 9 or 8 games. They're expected to be third in the division between Houston and Jacksonville. 66 to win the Super Bowl. That'd be pretty fun. But I'm excited for the Colts. What do you think?
I have extremely high hopes.
Yes.
And I think as this team goes, as this division goes, it all hinges on these 3 superstars in the making, and some of them have already made. I think if Anthony Richardson is with us the whole season, then we are a true dark horse to win the division. I mean, this division
let me go to your Anthony Richardson real quick, since you bring him up here. I mean, look at this man. This is not your typical Colts quarterback. You usually go with these fathers over here, your Luck and your Peyton. And they even got Joe Flacco just in case the natives get a little restless there. But what do you think about Anthony Richardson? I love him.
I love him. I'm so thrilled to have him. I love watching Colts fans not quite know what to make of him. And, they really want to start being like, well, bootstraps, like they really don't know what to do with this, like 6'4", 250, runs a 4.4 40, just like absolute linebacker of a player. He loves the community so far. I only hear the most wonderful things about him. He just like bird scooters around town, went to some guy's birthday party because his fiance was like, are you a Colts player? And he's like, yeah. I think he is like exactly what a franchise needs to stay fun and relevant, especially after we just had so much heartbreak post Luck. It was really just like boring white guys that did not have it anymore. And I think Irsay was absolutely correct for this to be the guy. I think I know there's some worry about him being able to stay on the field. I just think he's big. I think he knows when it's needed to throw his body around and when it's not. And I'm like all in on him. Big time.
Throwing the body around. Yeah, of course, he's been hurt every year of his career, but if he does healthy, I mean, he was amazing for those 4 games. That's why he's already locked. I got him in.
Well, and he didn't get hurt. The season-ending injury was not his fault. It was, like his shoulder got messed up. There were injuries or sort of, almost concussions, probably concussions, that it was like, oh, you don't need to throw your body like that. But I think he's learned. I think that's also hard to tell a football player to do, to be like, reel it in. Like, that's just
Right.
not how they're wired. I also think he has some really good pieces to throw to. And so maybe he'll feel like it's not all on him. I think Jonathan Taylor still has it and is still sort of treated with the respect that running backs used to have. And the defense looks good too. Like,
Yeah.
I'm feeling very good about them. I wish this division was bad like it used to be. It used to be like the laughing stock, and
Right.
now we have to play CJ Stroud twice and play a very good Jacksonville team twice.
Sure.
And
No,
I wish,
they're all definitely improving, and
yeah.
they do, and they have a lot of talent. And this will be the first time Taylor and Richardson play together, which will be pretty exciting because Taylor, of course, held out. He stared out. I can't believe he actually won that negotiation battle with your crazy man Jim Irsay. I always bring up Jim Irsay. I love Jim Irsay.
Who I also love. I love.
Yeah. One of my most embarrassing things happening online was I followed Jim Irsay on Twitter, and he'll be drunk middle of the night. He's a great follow. And he'll be like $10,000 to the guy who knows, whoever won the, 2021 game versus the Falcons. And I replied to it and answered. And of course, that goes public only if you follow him. And of course, you follow him. And then you caught me. Like it was almost embarrassing. It's like it was almost catch me with a porn window open, like my browser history or something. You're like, oh, tweeting at Jim Irsay, are you, CJ? I'm like, oh God, yeah. Well, I'm trying to win 10K. What can I say?
I mean, listen, he's giving out Taylor Swift tickets because Taylor Swift's going to Indianapolis, and I want my nieces to be able to go. And I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna have to enter one of these Jim Irsay raffles now.
What do you think of Shane Steichen here? He's 14 to win the coach of the year. 66 is the one that got fired. I only say that because Jim Irsay is so crazy. Who knows what's going to happen? That story when he was in the bathroom for an hour and whatever. McDaniel's wife was like, "This is a bit weird." Can't a billionaire do coke in his own room, in his own house, for crying out loud? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, especially if he's on a job interview to hire you. Let him do whatever he wants.
Exactly. But what do you think of old Shane Steichen? What you got from the Eagles? He's a system. What do you think he looks like here, though? He looks a little skeevy, to be honest with you. Now that I look at these
people have said he looks like Dak Shepard. He looks like a lot of my friends' husbands. So he's like classic Indianapolis looking guy. I like him. I loved Frank Reich. I was a big Frank Reich girly. Was sad to see him go. Was sad to see what happened in Carolina because I don't think that was his fault. I thought the Jeff Saturday stuff was like so chaotic and like kind of funny and also disrespectful to the coaches that were in the system. There were former players who were coaches at the time.
Right.
Reggie Wayne specifically comes to mind. That I was like, well, you could have just promoted Reggie Wayne. And they were teammates, it was like they're of the same era. They were both on the Super Bowl winning team. He's already sort of in the system. Whatever. I like Shane Steichen. I sort of enjoy picking a guy who's been an assistant or a coordinator from obscurity. I feel like so much in the NFL, it's like a coaching carousel of like, you've been fired here, so go be over here. And that just kind of continues and continues. So when we get a guy who has not been fired from being a head coach, I find it sort of exciting. I know Irsay gets a bad rap. I think he's actually like a pretty good owner as far as billionaires go. I think Chris Ballard, the GM, does a good job. Like I have not fallen in love with Shane Steichen, but it's only been one season. And I think for him to take that team to the record they had last year without their starting quarterback and with their star running back holding out for the first 4 or 5 games was extremely impressive and promising.
Absolutely. Now you bring up Chris Ballard, your general manager. He's an odd looking fellow himself, and I know you write on roast all the time here. And of course, here he is here in the middle here. They've won one playoff game. He's been there since 2014, which is 10 years now or whatever. So they've won one playoff game since that run.
That's not great.
But I don't care. I like his press conferences. I like how he's always angry, kind of, and he has a hat down. Like he looks like he's like somebody's bro in Indianapolis who just comes up there and because I when he had to take that idea because he has to. He represents like people who have that boss. Like what can I say? We're hiring Jeff Saturday. This is your idea. Well, I mean, we're on board. I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, you want me to get paid or not?
Yeah, he's like the press secretary
Right.
of an insane president, where
Yeah.
you're just like, yeah, that's what we're doing. And I don't think he gets like pushed around. I do think
No.
sometimes he's like, that's not the decision I would necessarily make. It
Right.
was brought to my attention that maybe he has had some face work done. I don't know. I didn't think
Okay.
so. And like the
Okay.
Indiana face work is not top notch. So I think we'd be able to tell. He is doing some sort of interesting, like it kind of looks like his hair. He has sort of a mullet right now.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's maybe sewn to the hat. I like that look.
That's a good look.
I
That's
like
an Indianapolis look. That's an Indianapolis gas station look.
absolutely.
I've got many a time.
Absolutely. So it's like, yeah, embrace where you are. For this tenure to be 10 years and one playoff game is tough. This is an
Yeah.
organization that like starts every year by being like, it's Super Bowl or a disappointment. And it's like, well, we know that that's not like true. But he's had a tough set of circumstances. I hated the GM before him. I actually blame him for Luck leaving. Like he set us back so many years that Ballard really had to clean up a mess for a few years. And
Yeah.
I'd really only want to judge him on like the last 5 years.
All right, fair enough there. Now you're talking about the culture there in Indianapolis. Your first round draft pick, Latu, who is
Love him.
Odds-on favorite to be rookie of the year, 3-1, which is pretty low odds. How's an Hawaiian going to do in Indianapolis? Yeah, he is a hunk. He is absolute Hawaiian hunk. How's he going to do roaming the streets of Indianapolis?
Well, I mean, he's going to clean up pussy-wise. And then I like he got a Colts horseshoe tattooed the next day. It's like,
okay,
you might not make the team, Latu, but he said I'm all in. I guess he doesn't know that players usually go to a lot of different teams, but I love him. We've got the canal that McAfee swam in.
That's true.
I'd love to invite him over to my parents' house. My mom makes really delicious pork. And I'm sure she could, grill up some pineapple. I think I don't know. Honestly, I think the Colts players have like a fine time there. It's like,
yeah, of course.
It's cheap. Everyone worships them. And if they really hate it, that's just not the NFL. It's sort of like you play where they send you. Like it's not the players' choice league that the NBA is. So I think they get there and kind of make the most of it.
All right. That's all like that. And an open invite to Mrs. Gailey's for pork and pineapple is fantastic.
Absolutely. Is that racist? I hope that's not racist of me. Are you
pork and pineapple? Well, at least it's okay if you cross two different races and then they negate each other, so it becomes not racism, I believe.
Okay, but
you're the one married to the Filipino going to Filipino Heritage Night. I mean, you should tell me, right?
Latu. Like I love when someone's first name and last name are basically the same. They're like,
yeah, that is great.
To me, we had a whole family of Samoan kids that were amazing football players that went to our high school, and they had the same thing. I trust first name, last name, same people with my life when it comes to football. Latu, if you want my husband to come cook Filipino food, he will do that too.
Yeah, Taladundo absolutely would do that. Latu. And real quick, Michael Pittman Jr., I put a little sprinkle on a 50-1 with an offensive player. I think he can have a huge year, Michael Pittman Jr. this year.
I am sometimes overly critical of him, and that is not fair. I think he is really good. To me, I grew up with Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, like star wide receivers. I think Pittman is solid. I think his family seems awesome. To me, I think he would be like the best two receiver in the league.
Interesting. All right.
I don't know, but like when I see the stats, I go, I'm wrong. And it may be because he seems like a nice, like sweet, God-loving guy that I'm like, this doesn't give star wide receiver to me. Like I'm just used to like really wild fun. Like I'm the guy chain coming out. Like that's what I really relate to. So he is a little bit less like crazy and flamboyant, and that I'm letting that like sort of muddy my judgment of his play, but he's a really like rock star. I think Josh Downs is amazing. I
Mhm.
despise a white wide receiver, and I fall in love with Alec Pierce. So
Oh,
the offensive core is actually pretty solid.
I like that. I like that they're despising white wide receivers. And that, by the way, was the nicest criticism you could possibly have done to Michael Pittman Jr. And just listening to you, and that I always has my theory of the difference between women's sports fans and men's
Yeah.
sports fans. It's not the knowledge; it's that you guys care and you guys are positive people, and you're in like you see the greatness in him. You're like, he has a good family, though. He's not doing it. I'm like, oh well, yeah, that is a beautiful way to think about things. Men just hate everything in life anyway, so that they're gonna,
Yeah.
of course, going to hate on other people.
Hate everything and then meet the guy in person. And I'm like, I'm your biggest fan.
Oh, of course. Then they love it. Yeah, we're the worst people anyway. All right, finally, let's just look at the schedule real quick. Just look at that. I put you on there for the shoe. I saw that slogan. And an amazing. Did people say that for the shoe? I just saw that on the schedule.
Yeah. Oh, we say for the shoe. This picture you're using of me this was at the one Jeff Saturday win. This was Colts Raiders. For some reason, I think because
in Vegas, right?
In Vegas, I was having some sort of allergic reaction and my eyes wouldn't stop leaking. And so I look like Jim Irsay.
I love it. I think all Colts fans should emulate their owner or coach or something like that. You know, every Colts fan should have an Irsay era, if you will.
Oh, I've had a couple and I had leaky eyes. So I really wish we were not opening against the Texans. The Colts hold the distinction of having the longest losing streak on opening weekend. Yes. We have not won an opening. We're like, I think it's been 8 years running. It's really bad. I wish we were not opening against a potential Super Bowl pick, but so I'm going to this Bears game in September. Already excited. Steelers, I say, well, you don't, I would go to jail if I said what I really wanted to happen to the Steelers. I honestly think like with the AFC South, we end up probably splitting and going 1-1 against even like the Titans who stink. Like it's just very hard to beat your division rivals.
I think overall they're going to go 3. And I think a lot of them are just going to go. The whole division is just going to beat up on each other, and everyone's going to go 3-3 and split that. But looking at the schedule looks okay. Other than that,
like the Jets, thank you. The Lions, like the Patriots, and I know that this is like a different version of all these teams.
Yeah,
it feels like we're gonna need a wild card. I actually do think we have a shot at the division. I know that's crazy. I think the Texans need a lot of things to go right though, and sometimes they don't. You know, like I would not wish an injury on anyone, but it's like if CJ Stroud misses a few games, I don't think
he doesn't have to have a career ender, but just roll the ankle a little bit of come Indy week. I think the Texans will take a step back, and I think the Colts have a chance just as anybody else. Obviously, it depends on Richardson's health there, but
so I think we're at least a 9-win, probably a 10-win team. Like this is how I feel at the start of every season. And then by week 4, I say I'm never watching again. And CJ has to get me out of the house. So I can't be near a television. But what stinks is what we always do. We start 0-2, 1-3, and then have an incredible winning streak at the end and miss the playoffs by one play.
Well, that's a beautiful Indianapolis thing, though. But 9-10, that'll get the job done this season for the Colts. I'm excited for them. I know you're always excited for them. You're already going to some certain games. You mentioned Aaron Rodgers real quick. And what's your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers? Since I have you here, he's like so annoying and so boring and predictable at the same time. I would have thought, I also think he ruined Hard Knocks. Like I think Hard Knocks was like already kind of taking a dip because the teams and players just got way too much control. And it's like, no, I want to go in your houses. I want to see your cars. I want to know your net worth. I want to meet your children. I want to know what your wife is making for dinner. Get me in the house. And he's just like smelling grass. I'm like, boo, you're such a boring, annoying bitch. And so he ruined that. And then to get injured on the 4th play and still be crazy. It's like to miss parts of like
workouts because you're in Egypt for some
I know.
unknown
See,
reason.
off-season Rodgers is the worst, and we got
The worst.
year-round off-season
Yes.
Rodgers, you know, and
Yes.
that was the problem.
Yeah, so I honestly think the Jets are truly cursed, and they beat the Colts in a playoff game that I was at, and I will never
Mhm.
forgive them. And I have never liked any Jets fans, and I only wish sadness for them.
Yes, them and the Steelers.
And the Steelers. I hate the
evil upon them.
Steelers. I hate the Steelers, and I can't wait to beat you, Eric Ebron. I don't even know if you're still on that team, but I don't like you either.
Megan Gailey, unbelievable. Thank you for coming in for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, what else you got going on? Tell the C-generates. I know that. Do you still do the Sports Bitch podcast there with Sarah Tiana? Now?
Okay, yeah. So Sports Bitch was on a hiatus because one of the bitches was getting married. She is
Okay.
now married. So Sarah Tiana, Rachel Bonetta, and myself, Sports Bitches, relaunching next week in anticipation of college football and the NFL. We are very excited. We are three insane women. I'm the most.
Yeah, it's
insane.
a great lineup of women.
Thank you. I'm the most insane, the most opinionated, while also knowing the least. And so that's like what I'm bringing. Rachel and Sarah, really funny, really smart.
Yep.
And yeah, we just give our opinions. I am so excited for this NFL season. And yeah, I don't know if that makes me a bad person, but I cannot wait. And I've just had a great sports year. The Boilermakers made it to the national championship. The freaking Pacers made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. You're welcome, CJ.
And I thanked you personally. I thanked every Indiana fan, Tom Thaddeker, all Indiana fans I know for beating the Knicks and ruining and stopping that national nightmare of Knicks fans thinking they were good. That you guys really did a service for our country and humanity with that.
Yeah. So I'm just going to keep riding that high. I am doing a bunch of stand-up. I'm doing a bunch of dates opening for Chelsea Handler.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. So I love how I'm going to like help plug her shows. I'm sure they're all sold out massive theaters.
You guys doing arenas?
But I will be doing Indianapolis with her, Kansas City, St. Louis, Peoria, Charleston, Charlotte. I think I'm going to one of those casinos in Connecticut, Foxwoods.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of fun places. And then I will be doing my own show in DC at some point in the winter. So gotta iron it out. And then in between that, raising a wonderful child.
Of course. And knowing which direction to face when they finally come to attend a game. That's gotta be good living touring with Chelsea. I imagine that green room's nice.
I'm so excited. We took Conrad to his first NFL game last year. Loved it. I was really nervous because he was like 18 months old. He was a baby, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm bringing a baby to an NFL game. And then I got there. It was a Colts game, all babies. It was basically an arena, a stadium of babies.
Did you give him the headphones, like those Drew Brees headphones?
He refused. He threw them off.
Yes.
He said, ah! He took his shirt off. It was like truly madness. And so we are taking him back. He's going to that Bears Colts game. My little baby's going to see Caleb Williams.
Yes. And you can paint the fingernails in tribute. Bring them in there, blue and white. That'd be beautiful. Well,
I'm hoping Caleb Williams is good. I love Caleb Williams.
I do too. I
want him to be good.
And he's exactly what Chicago needs too. They need a zesty quarterback to taunt their homophobia over.
It's Richardson in Indianapolis. They're like,
exactly. They don't know what to do with it.
That's great.
But they have to like them. That's great. Well, follow Megan Gailey on Instagram at Better Megan Gailey or on X at Megan Gailey. Follow our dates, see Chelsea, or go see your own shows. And definitely listen to the Sports Bitch, the Colts Mama Sports Bitch podcast. That's why I put on a ticker down there. Thank you, Megan.
Bye.